You ever notice how the guys she can't stop thinking about aren't always the best-looking, richest, or the smoothest talkers? It's something else. Something that feels subtle but hits deep. They've got this vibe, you never quite know what they're gonna do next, but when they show up, it feels electric. And here's the twist most guys miss. It's not about being distant or cold. It's about how you show up. Not just when you do, but the way you do it. See, most dudes make themselves way too predictable. They think consistency means message her every morning, or always be available. So they fall into this autopilot pattern. Same text, same timing, same energy. And what happens? She starts to expect it. And the second she expects it, the mystery is gone. Now, don't get it twisted. This isn't about ghosting or being hot and cold. This is about intentional unpredictability. You still show up. You still give attention. But you do it in a way that makes her stop and think, what's this guy gonna say next? Is he gonna text me today? You're not robotic. You're a presence, a vibe, a little storm she feels coming. Because when she can't predict you, she starts watching you. She tunes in. That little space between the messages? That's where you live rent-free. It's not about leaving her on read for 3 days hoping she chases you. That's immature. That's a game. What I'm talking about is presence with intention. When you message her, you're not just checking a box. You're not texting hey just to stay in the mix. You're bringing energy. You're playful. You're focused. You're fully there. You give her a version of you that makes her smile at her phone. And then you disappear for a bit, not because you're faking it, but because you're actually living your life. You're not glued to the convo. You're in the gym. With your boys. Building your thing. So when you come back around, feels like something. It breaks the loop. Because she doesn't know when or how, but she knows when you pop in, it hits different. That's what creates tension. That's what builds memory. That's what makes you stand out. Predictable is safe. Predictable is forgettable. You don't want to be that. You want to be the guy who's always consistent in quality, but unpredictable in rhythm. It's like music. If every beat hit the same, you'd stop listening. But when there's a pause, a drop, a switch up, that's what keeps you hooked. Same goes here. Let her wonder a little. Let her feel the difference. Because that little shift, from always there to intentionally there, that's where obsession starts. Most guys blend into the background without even realizing it. Same jokes. Same compliments. Same energy. They follow the same script they think women want to hear. Safe, basic, forgettable. But the ones who actually stick, they bring something no one else does. They create an experience around themselves. A vibe that feels completely different. Not better. Not louder. Just theirs. You talk to 10 people a day. But there's always that one person who leaves a mark. Not because they tried too hard, but because their energy cut through the noise. They weren't trying to impress. They were just being so fully themselves it was magnetic. That's the secret. You don't need to be funnier or cooler. You need to feel original. You do that by building a world only you can offer. Start with how you talk. Don't copy what you see on TikTok or repeat what every guy says in her DMs. Make your own references. Use your own words. Tell stories in your own way. Even the little things matter. Give her a nickname no one's ever called her. Roast her playlist, but do it in your style. Bring her into your sense of humor, not one you borrowed. The moment she starts associating certain laughs, phrases, or feelings with you specifically, you've won. Because now, when she hears that kind of joke somewhere else, she thinks of you. You've branded yourself in her mind. It's not about being outrageous or weird. It's about owning your flavor. You're not vanilla. You're pistachio chili with a twist. She didn't expect it, but now she's addicted. Be the guy who doesn't need a perfect line to be memorable. Because your delivery? That's the thing she remembers. The way you tell a story. The way you throw in a pause, a smirk, a perfectly timed jab. That's the stuff that plays back in her head at night. You can't be replaced if you bring something only you can bring. Think about your dynamic with her. How can you shape it so that no one else could replicate it, even if they tried? That's your edge. When she says, "No one makes me laugh like he does," you've already won. When she hears a song and remembers the way you made fun of it, you're stuck in her head. You're not just a person anymore. You're a full experience. And the more unique that experience feels, the more it lingers. Forget being perfect. Forget being smooth all the time. Just be you, turned all the way up, unfiltered, untouchable. Because when your energy is that specific, it's not just attractive. It's unforgettable. Most guys move way too fast. They meet a girl, feel a spark, and immediately start sprinting like it's a race to lock her down. They flood her with texts, constant attention, non-stop updates. And at first, sure, she might be flattered. But give it a few days. What felt exciting starts to feel overwhelming. Too much too soon? It burns out fast. See, attraction isn't built in a rush. It's not some checklist you finish in 1 week. Real interest grows in the gaps, in the silences, in the slow buildup of tension. But you can't create that if you're always there. If you respond in seconds. If you text her like it's your full-time job. You're not giving her any space to feel curiosity. And curiosity is where the magic lives. When she wonders what you're doing. When she rereads your last message because you haven't sent a new one yet. That's when the thoughts start. She needs room to miss you. To imagine you. To want more. But if you're constantly filling the space, she never gets a chance to lean in. You've already given her everything. There's no mystery left to unfold. You don't need to talk 24/7 to build something real. You just need to make sure every time you do talk it leaves a mark. Let your messages breathe. Let moments land. Every conversation doesn't need to be a deep dive. Don't tell her your whole life story in 3 days. Let parts of you unfold naturally. Save some for later. Because when you slow it down, it shows you're in control. You're not rushing because you're afraid of losing her. You're steady, grounded, calm. And that energy is rare. Let her feel the build-up. Let her guess where things are going. Let her text you first sometimes. It's not about withholding, it's about pacing. Think of it like fire. Too much fuel too fast? It explodes and dies. The right amount at the right time? It burns steady and long. That's how you stay on her mind without trying. She's thinking about what you're thinking. She's replaying your last convo. She's checking your story, hoping to feel a little closer. But she only does that when you're not overexposed. When you don't give everything up front. You're not playing games, you're just moving with intention. You're choosing presence over pressure. Quality over quantity. Because when it builds naturally, it lasts longer. And when she feels like she's slowly unlocking more of you, she's hooked. So chill out. Take your time. Let the connection unfold instead of forcing it. Because when it comes to attraction, fast is forgettable. But slow? Slow is unforgettable. Most guys make one huge mistake. They try too hard to agree with everything she says. They nod, smile, go along with it all, thinking that's the smooth move. But here's the truth. Always agreeing doesn't build attraction. It kills it. When you never push back, you blend into the background. You stop feeling like a real person and start feeling like a yes man. And she won't respect someone who doesn't have a backbone. Now, I'm not saying start arguing for the sake of drama. This isn't about being difficult. It's about having your own mind, and not being afraid to show it. Let's say she says something wild like, pineapple on pizza is elite. Most dudes go, haha yeah totally, even if they hate it. But if you hit her with, absolutely not. That's a crime against pizza, and follow it up with a smirk? Now it's a moment. She's laughing. You're teasing. There's energy in the air. That playful clash? That's where connection happens. When you challenge her a little, you become interesting. Because you're not just agreeing to win her over, you're standing on something. That creates tension. Not negative tension, fun tension. It's like verbal flirting. She says one thing, you throw a little jab back. She pushes, you push right back with a grin. It creates rhythm. Chemistry. Suddenly, it's not a stale convo, it's a dance. Girls don't want a debate team. They want someone who can push back without pushing away. And here's the kicker. When you speak your truth and still keep it light, it shows serious confidence. You're not afraid of disagreeing. You're not desperate for approval. That's powerful. Because the moment she sees you're comfortable in your opinions, she sees strength. Not the kind that yells or forces it. The quiet kind. The grounded kind. She'll start to ask herself, why do I actually like pineapple on pizza? Not because you forced her, but because you made her think. That's impact. You're not being rude. You're being real. And real stands out. Anyone can nod along. Anyone can pretend to vibe with whatever she says. But very few guys can disagree without making it weird. That's what makes it attractive. Because now she doesn't know what you'll say next. She's tuned in. She's reacting. She's invested. You've pulled her into the moment with you. And that's where connection deepens. So next time you're talking and she says something you don't agree with, don't fake a smile. Say what you actually think. Do it with humor. Do it with charm. But say it. Because when you're not afraid to disagree, you stop being forgettable. You become the guy who feels real. And that's the guy she keeps thinking about later. Not the one who agreed, but the one who made her feel something. You don't need to tell her you've got options. She should feel it without you saying a word. Most guys mess this part up. They either overdo it, trying to brag about how many girls are in their DMs, or they come off too available, like their whole world revolves around her. Both are a turn-off. The key is subtlety, presence, how you move, how you carry yourself when she's not around. You're not flexing. You're just living in a way that shows you have value, with or without her attention. Let your actions speak. She doesn't need to know names, numbers, or who's texting you. What she needs to feel is that you're not waiting around for her. You're booked, busy, focused. Your time is full because your life is full. Not with fake plans but real ones. Or gym, hobbies, friendships, things that matter to you. So when she texts and you don't reply instantly, it's not a tactic. It's just real life. You're occupied, and that creates space for her to lean in. Because here's what no one tells you. When a girl feels like you have something going on that doesn't include her, it makes her curious. She starts thinking, who's keeping him this engaged? What's pulling his attention? And that curiosity? That's gold. That's what keeps you on her mind when you're not even trying. You're not ignoring her. You're just showing her you're not dependent on her. You respond when it fits into your life, not out of panic or pressure. That shows strength. The less you chase, the more attractive you become. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because your energy is grounded. You're not afraid to say no, to reschedule, to take your time. And the crazy part? When you do that, she respects you more. She sees you as someone who values himself. Someone who's selective with his time. And in her mind, that raises your worth. Now she's not just talking to you. She's earning your attention. And that's the shift, when she starts wondering how to fit into your world. Not the other way around. So keep building that world. Stack your routine. Prioritize your growth. You don't need to make a big announcement. She'll notice. And how relaxed you are. And how you're never too pressed. And how your vibe feels like it's already moving with or without her reply. And when she feels that, she starts chasing that feeling again. Not because you were rude, but because you were rare. Rare in your calm. Rare in your confidence. Rare in how little you needed validation. The guy who makes her think, what's he doing right now? That's the guy she doesn't forget. So don't just act like you have options. Be the guy who does, and lives like it. You know what kills attraction faster than anything? Oversharing. Telling your entire life story in the first week like it's a therapy session. A lot of guys think being open right away makes them seem deep or emotionally available. It doesn't. It just makes you feel too familiar too soon. Mystery is underrated. You don't need to lay everything out on the table. You shouldn't. If she knows every detail about you by day 3, what's left for her to discover? Nothing. And when there's nothing left to figure out, there's nothing left to chase. The guys who stay on her mind the longest? They're the ones she can't quite figure out yet. The ones who give her just enough to stay curious. You share pieces, not the whole picture. You let her feel something, then pull back just enough to make her want to know more. It's not about hiding who you are. It's about pacing the reveal. Think of it like a movie trailer. You show the best scenes, but you don't spoil the ending. You want her leaning in, asking questions, guessing what's behind the next layer. Drop hints. Share moments. But never unload everything at once. If she asks about your past, answer. Just don't turn it into a monologue. Let her ask more. Let her earn the details. Because when she's working to figure you out, she's investing. And when she invests, she connects. It's human nature. We value what we explore, not what's handed over too easily. And mystery doesn't mean being quiet or distant. You can be fun, open, even vulnerable, but always leave a little space. Don't rush to tell her your dreams, your family drama, your last breakup story. Save some of that. Let it come out over time when it actually matters. The less you say, the more weight your words carry. When you don't speak on everything, the things you do share hit harder. That's how you become someone she thinks about when you're not around. Because she's trying to fill in the blanks. She's wondering what you're doing, who you really are, what's behind that calm smile or that story you didn't finish. You're giving her a puzzle, and people love puzzles. Being too open too fast doesn't build trust. It builds boredom. She doesn't want everything all at once. She wants discovery. So be that. Be a slow reveal. A book with chapters she's dying to read. Let the tension grow naturally. Let her imagination do some of the work. When you stay just a little out of reach, she'll keep reaching. And that's where obsession lives. Not in what's fully known, but in what's almost understood. So don't spill the whole story. Let her turn the pages one at a time. You can say all the right things, send perfect messages, and still get ignored if your energy is off. Words are easy. Anyone can copy a line or rehearse a vibe. But energy? That's felt. It's unspoken. It either hits or it doesn't. Confidence isn't what you say, it's what you radiate. You don't need to shout it. You don't need to prove it. It's in how you walk, how you hold eye contact, how comfortable you are in your own space. The loudest guy in the room isn't always the most secure. Sometimes it's the quiet one with a calm presence who owns the space. If your vibe says, "I hope she likes me," she'll pick up on it instantly. Even if your texts sound chill, your energy might be screaming neediness. But when you're grounded, when you know who you are and aren't looking for validation, that's when you stand out without even trying. You don't rush to fill silence. You don't over-explain. You're okay letting a moment breathe. That kind of self-control? It's rare. It's powerful. People are drawn to it even if they don't know why. Because it feels safe, solid, certain. And women are incredibly tuned into this. She can tell within minutes what kind of guy you are, based not on what you say but how you are. When your energy feels relaxed and unfazed, she starts leaning in. Because it feels different. It feels rare. You don't flinch if she takes a little longer to reply. You don't chase. You don't force. You let things come to you. And that's not arrogance, it's control. It shows you're not desperate to be chosen. You've already chosen yourself. It's in the way you sit, how you talk to the waiter, how you handle pressure. Everything you do either adds to your presence or takes away from it. So instead of focusing on the perfect text or the right compliment, ask yourself, what kind of energy am I bringing into this interaction? Am I calm? Do I feel like a guy who has direction? Do I carry myself like someone who values his time? Because when your energy aligns with confidence and self-worth, she won't just hear your words, she'll feel them. She won't question your intentions. She'll trust them. And that trust? That's what builds long-lasting attraction. You don't get that by faking cool. You get it by building a life you're actually proud of. A routine you don't want to escape. A path you're walking with purpose. When your energy reflects that kind of self-assurance, you don't need to chase anyone. You attract naturally, effortlessly. So forget the script. Forget trying to impress. Become the guy who already knows his worth, and watch how people start treating you differently. There's something powerful about not giving it all away at once. Most guys want to be liked so badly they rush everything. They reveal every detail, explain every story, spill every emotion, hoping it'll make her connect faster. But connection doesn't work like that. What pulls people in isn't instant access. It's curiosity. You want to be the guy who makes her lean in, not back away. That doesn't happen when she knows everything up front. It happens when you let things unfold, one layer at a time. Give her a reason to stick around. A reason to ask, not just answer. Be interesting but leave room for discovery. It's not about being distant or cold. It's about pacing the experience. Think of yourself like a great series. You don't drop the whole plot in episode 1. You tease it. You build it. You keep her guessing. You give her just enough to stay hooked, but never the whole picture too soon. She should feel like there's more to you every time you speak. More layers. More depth. More story. That's what keeps her thinking about you when the conversation ends. Not what you said, but what you didn't. When you hold back just a little, it creates tension. Not the awkward kind, the magnetic kind. It's the difference between, "That was a nice chat," and "What is it about him?" And here's the thing. Mystery doesn't mean being shady or fake. It means being intentional. You're not here to unload. You're here to build something that lasts. And lasting impressions aren't built by being predictable. They're built by revealing the right things at the right time. Let her earn the deeper parts of you. Not because you're playing games, but because you respect your story. You're not an open book at page 1. You're a novel worth reading slowly. Because when someone has to turn the pages themselves, they get invested. They start looking forward to what's next. And when she's thinking about what's next with you, that's when the real bond starts to grow. You didn't force it. You didn't beg for attention. You created space for interest to build on its own. Let your presence feel like something she's still figuring out. Let your story unfold at your pace. Not too fast. Not too easy. Just right. Because what's rare is remembered. And what's mysterious, that sticks. So if you want to stay on her mind, don't rush to be understood. Let her feel like she's only scratched the surface. Because when she's curious, she stays close. If this gave you something to think about, hit that subscribe button. Plenty more where this came from. And if you're ready to stop being average and start being unforgettable, stick around.